Welcome to the Pittsburgh Dish. I'm your host, Doug Heilman. What's your favorite style of pizza? Or do you have that special spot? This week, we sit down with two master pizza makers that have not only crafted incredible pizza and thriving businesses, but also lasting friendships. All that ahead. Stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for coming over and for being on the show. Would you introduce yourselves to our listeners and what you have going on right now in the world of food?
Sure. Yes, I'll go first. My name is Patrick Elston. I co-own Gus Franco's Pizza in Lower Burrell with my wife, Mandy. It's a family-run establishment. We do wood-fired pizzas. We've been doing them in our shop for just under 4 years. Before that, we were a mobile unit, traveling around town and making wood-fired pizzas on the road. We liked that so much that we ended up purchasing a building and pursuing our pizza dream in Lower Burrell, which is not too far from Pittsburgh for any of you guys out there.
Not at all. I've been there.
Yeah.
And so, Patrick, I'm just doing math real quick. I don't think I knew you had the mobile unit. So about 7 or 8 years now total?
So, yeah, about, we started in 2018, taking it pretty serious, bought our trailer, sight unseen, used from a gentleman in Maine, and had it towed here. We were saving up some money to buy a camp at the time and decided that the pizza thing was something that we wanted to try. So instead of relaxing during the weekend, we now work every weekend. Yeah. But it's worth it. We love it. We absolutely fell in love with the service side of things, the hospitality side of things, making friends, making people smile, and they make us smile right back. So it has been quite the ride. It truly has changed who we are and everything about our daily lives. It's made me a much happier person. The service industry in providing things for people has really allowed me to open up and let the true me kind of come out, and whatever is feeling good is kind of just how we roll with it at our place. So
I love that. Patrick, thank you so much. And since you mentioned making friends, let's introduce our other guest.
Hi, my name is Pete Tolman. I am the owner of Ironborn Pizza. We have 2 locations. One is in the Strip District, and the other is in Millvale across the river. The thing that I'm kind of excited about right now is I was featured in a book called The Pursuit of Pizza as part of a member of the World Pizza Champions. So it's pretty exciting, something I've never done. It has our dough recipe in there as well as our sauce.
Whoa.
So if you're interested in trying to make it at home, that's where you can find it.
This is the newest thing for the Ironborn legacy.
Yeah, correct. So we opened in June of 2017 at Smallman Galley.
Yes.
And then we moved across the river to Millvale. We closed the Smallman location from there and then opened our Strip District location in December 2019.
My goodness. I'm just doing quick math here too. So you're coming up in June. You're coming up on an anniversary then. Will that be 8 years?
I believe it's 8 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes I mix up dates, but I'm pretty sure it was June 2017.
So we have 2 very different pizza styles in both of your businesses. And if we have some listeners out there that haven't visited either location, let's describe to them a little bit of what you're serving up in terms of pizza style. And I know there's more on the menu, so I want to get to that too. Pete, I'll go back to you. Will you tell listeners what is the pizza that you guys are dishing out?
So we specialize in Detroit style pizza. Detroit style pizza is kind of popular for a style of pan with sloping shoulders. So it builds this cheddar cheese crust around the outside. It's a pan style pizza.
It's amazing. That crust is everything. That edge.
Yeah, there's something exciting about just that little crispy corner that you want. But the dough's light and airy. Detroit style pizza also has sauce on top. So that's a little different than some styles of pizza, but it's just a really good, light, airy, pan-style pizza that people really like.
I had never experienced it before until you opened in Smallman. I did not know about Detroit style, and that lacy edge, it got me for sure.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to be one of the first ones to do it and really tried our best to focus on the dough, working on the procedures, making sure that we do it consistently every day.
I love it. Patrick, back to you. You mentioned to us that you got this wood-fired oven How do you describe your pizza style at your shop, Gus Franco's?
Yeah, so over the years, our pizza style has adapted. We were early days. We focused on a couple different styles when we were playing around with pizza at home. I started getting some higher temperatures with a charcoal grill, actually, that I got up into the mid 700s, and I started to see some changes in how the dough was reacting. Started to tinker around with different types of flour, and it was more of a Neapolitan kind of inspired pizza at the time. We referred to it as Neapolitan. That was kind of the catchphrase at the time, where you were making a 12-inch round, semi-soft pizza that had the leoparding around the outside. And the more we did it, the more I wanted to kind of crispify that pizza. So I guess I refer to it these days as an American baker style pizza. We do a lot of, our dough recipe is basically a bread recipe in a lot of ways. So I studied a lot of different bread styles and fermentations. And the deeper I went down that hole, the changes that came along with that journey have been really cool. And it changes all the time. We've lowered our temperature a lot that we bake at. We're in the low to mid 700s most night temperature wise on the top. We like our floor to be around 600 degrees, and that allows that pizza to cook for about 3.5 minutes. That makes that bottom crisp up just enough to keep the Pittsburgh crowd happy that's kind of used to that type of pizza, but also allows the crust to be delicate and light and airy and with a nice chew to it that just kind of is almost buttery in a way with the fermentation. So long story short, American baker kind of New Yorkish wood-fired styled pizza.
Are you creating a whole new term, American baker style?
No.
Let's do that.
I've kind of seen people use that term, and I like that because it is not a true Neapolitan style. It is not a Roman style. It really is.
It's breaking from Italian traditions so much because you're really creating something that doesn't fit in any box.
But it's relying on those roots, those roots of that traditional type of wood-fired pizza that got us kind of there. And then we, as the pizza scene in America, which is outstanding. I mean, it's really, truly fascinating to see the growth of pizza in the types of different styles and the regional styles. Man, that's kind of where we're focused at right now. Yeah. Although we do tinker on Tuesday nights with Detroit style. I call it a grandma Detroit because it's about maybe a third as thick as Pete's, which is the true definition of Detroit. So ours is a little thinner with the cheese crust. And so we do that on Tuesdays. We're playing around with the Sicilian now. We're getting some electric upgrades. We've a gentleman named Steven that works for me has taken on the Sicilian project. And we've been having some great results, and we're really excited to possibly be releasing that on a limited basis coming up. But our bread and butter is still the 12-inch round pie that we sell every day.
I love it. You mentioned a couple of things, and I just want to break down for people out there. I love educating people on some things. So we have said Pete's doing a Detroit style. Pete, how thick is the typical Detroit style crust?
So the typical Detroit style crust I would call over an inch high, but under an inch and a half. So let's call it an inch and a quarter. I would say that Ironborn, if we are docked anything against Detroit style pizza, it's because we lift it almost too high. So if you look at True Buddies or Cloverleaf, their pizzas are generally just a little bit shorter than mine. But once we started at Smallman, everybody kind of got used to that tall lift, and we just couldn't take it away.
And what's the difference between that and then what we would call a grandma style pie? Grandmas are thinner?
Grandmas are a little thinner. There's no cheddar cheese crust. It's in a different style pan. Generally one you have at home, so like a half sheet pan. I'm not sure
or a quarter sheet pan.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly.
This is what people could do at home because they probably don't have the Detroit style pan unless they use like a cake.
Right. Yeah.
Something.
You could either order a true Detroit style pan, but even if you use a cast iron, not a pot, like a cast iron saute pan. Right. Exactly. Or just take that half sheet pan, oil it down, take your favorite, come to one of our shops, get dough off of one of us, tap it out, and bake it off,
We want people to go to your shops, but Pete is giving mad skills on how to do some things at home. I love this.
Yeah, even if it's like giant eagle dough, go ask him for it, slap it into a pan, put your favorite sauce on it, and it'll turn out to be pretty good.
And so many people actually will sell you their dough if you stop in.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more that Patrick mentioned was leopardized, and you mean the spotty browning or blacking? Leoparding.
Leoparding, yeah.
I love that.
At least that's the way I say it.
Well, I've never heard that before.
When you get those little dark spots all along the crust in a pizza cooked at a higher temperature, and it doesn't have to be wood-fired. That's a lot of people consider that a wood-fired trait, and that's probably where they get that flavor, where they think the smoke is affecting it. When you're running an oven above 700 degrees, there's really not a lot of smoke, and what smoke there is living up in the ceiling of that oven. So unless I pick that pizza up on purpose and put it in that smoke, you're not getting a true smoke flavor. You're getting a char flavor from that high temperature that's leopard, making the leopard spots on that crust. A lot of really good electric ovens that are out there now. Pete actually uses a pizza oven called a Pizza Master that can reach temperatures the same as my wood-fired oven can reach, over 900 degrees. So you can take my dough and go to a place like Pete's and crank that oven up and really make the same looking pizza that you would in my shop. I think the wood, brings a lot of things to the table. I think it's just a sexier way to cook a pizza, to be honest with you. I think it's every pizza that goes in there, I have to watch the entire time. Every pizza is customized. If I walk away from it for more than 30 seconds, I have to make a new pizza for somebody. So it requires your full attention. There's no just popping it in, closing the door, coming back in a couple minutes, spinning that thing one time and going. You're moving it from spot to spot. Sometimes on a busy Friday night, you're chasing heat. That floor, if you think of every pizza that goes into that oven is sucking heat out of that floor. And you need to replenish that as much as you can on a busy night. There's no downtime to really let that heat pump back up. So at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock on a Friday night, if you come watch me cook, you're going to see a man in motion. I mean, cooking in that oven, literally you're searching and you're trying to, in my oven, in my head, I have 5 different spots in there that I cook pizzas on. So I'm trying to only have 3, maybe 4 in there at all times, and then having one spot that I'm kind of letting recharge, and then I'll start to use it and let another spot recharge. So when you're trying to get that top finished at the same time that the bottom finishes. So that fire is always going to be raging. You can keep loading logs in there, and that top heat is always there on demand when you want it. But the bottom heat is really where you have to play catch up sometimes. That's what separates a lot of people in the wood-fired oven to when they get gas. We just had our floor replaced, and there was this little corner of the floor that had its own little brick. It was a solid floor except for this little brick, and I never knew why. 4 years, I never asked the question why that was. So when they broke that floor out to put a new one in, I saw that piece, and I'm like, what is this? And they said, we put that in there because so many people buy a wood-fired oven and realize in a couple months how hard it is and how intense it is. I mean, you're in a relationship with that thing. That's my second wife, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, you have to understand and work with each other and compromise. Like, it's insane. But they said that plug allows them to pop that out of there, drill a hole in the bottom, and put a gas line in there to allow that gas assist to kind of help regulate that heat. Because if you're blasting too much, too little, I mean, you're worried as much about the fire in that oven as you are the actual pizzas in it. So it's quite a dance, and it's definitely something that I still learn every shift I work and make pizzas. I learn something that I shouldn't do or something that I should do, and it's an absolute. So every day is a journey, but it's so worth it when they come out looking pretty. And I mean, I have an art degree. I didn't go to college. I went to a 2-year art school. And I haven't been super creative after I graduated. I never had a job in art. I never got to use that to earn a living, but making these pizzas allows me to create a little something, a whole bunch of times a night and then serve it to somebody and get a reaction. So I still get that feeling that I chased when I would paint or when I would sketch something up. So that allows, it hits a whole bunch of feels with me to make a good pizza for somebody. Not only feeding somebody something that I consider fairly healthy for something looked at as junk food, but to give them something that we created with our hands, that we cared about, that we put 3 or 4 days into that dough is super satisfying. So it's the coolest thing I've ever done.
I mean, all of that kind of goes back to, and in fact, you said something that I will disagree. I don't usually disagree. Yeah. I don't think of pizza as junk food.
Well,
there's,
yeah,
It certainly can be.
You guys, well, it can. I mean, I've seen
Right.
some of the loaded pies, but like you are putting so much care in like the flour and the processing and I think it's a good quality.
Yeah,
foods.
and it can be. You know, you get, and Pete will agree with me. The further down the pizza journey you get, you learn what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
You learn that there's no need for bromated bleached flours.
Right.
Like people are so concerned. Like bromate does a lot of things. One thing it does is give more oven spring to your dough. So if you're using the same amount of flour and you're making one loaf of bread that's 100% its size, and if you don't use that bromated, it might be 80%. So a lot of bakers are like, well, I want mine to be bigger. I can get more money for it. So they use bromated flours, which allows that, and they're bleached. You don't need that. It's not even legal in certain states around the world. Like they're banning bromated flours. So I know Pete uses non-bromated and unbleached flours in his stuff, but not everybody does.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the pizza shops that are chain pizzas, like the bigger guys are, probably, their margins are really small.
Yeah.
And they need to use value products. So they're probably using, things that are giving bigger results. And by no means am I a doctor, but the more you hear about gluten intolerance and things like that, I have a lot of customers that are gluten sensitive, not celiac, but gluten sensitivities that can eat our pizza because we're not using flours that have that stuff in them. We're fermenting them properly over time that allows that yeast to go in there and break down all the simple sugars and all the things that are in there and kind of do half the digestion for you. So it's much easier on people's guts. And there's a lot of places throughout Pittsburgh and in the United States that are doing it that way, that are trying to promote a bit of a healthier way. But I know growing up, like by no means, if somebody in my family was on a diet were they like, oh yeah, we're eating good tonight, we're going to save some calories and go grab a Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say, it's never, it's kind of considered junk food because you sit down and you gorge yourself on a greasy pie and do your thing. But the more people learn about that, and the more people like that care, like Pete and a bunch of other pizza makers throughout the city and around the world are trying to change that look on pizza, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Pete, I want to come back to you too, because at Ironborn in the Strip District location, you're doing even more than just pizza, right?
Yeah, we have a full menu, full bar as well, 42 seats or so. So you can dine in straight out of the oven, the great oven that we were just talking about. We make everything that we can there other than like sliced frozen chips, but we deep fry those and season them ourselves.
Potato chips.
Yeah,
yes, house
that's
chips.
pretty much all we have in the freezer. But we make our own meatballs by hand. We hand cut pasta. It's usually like a 1 to 2 aged drying process to kind of firm up the noodles for a day, kind of set the shape of the noodle.
So you're making the noodle in-house, right?
Yep. Yeah, we have a full extruder, so everything's made by hand and sliced right through the extruder. Rigatoni, spaghetti, orecchiette.
Don't you have a bolognese on the menu?
Yep, we always have a bolognese, marinara, and then the meatballs are really, really popular right now.
I also want to just add, you not only have ranch and hot sauce, you bottle it.
Yeah,
right?
That was one of my sous chef's ideas, or kitchen managers, I'm sorry. But he said, hey, people love the ranch. Why don't you just bottle it 8 ounces at a time and sell it?
And you're making that in-house too, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. We make all our own dressings and everything else as well.
Let me ask, going back to the pizzas, maybe just right now, what are some of the bangers, the ones that you think you sell the most?
So normally our most popular are the white pie, which is a garlic cream, roasted tomato, caramelized onions, ricotta, arugula, lemon oil, and then a little bit of Parmesan, or probably the spicy pie, which is hot soppressata, house-made banana peppers, Ezzo pepperoni.
I love Ezzo pepperoni. Oh, it cups beautifully, right?
Oh, it's so good. It chars up in the oven.
Yes.
Gives you everything you want pretty much. But and then pretty much from there, just herbs and Romano. But those are probably our top 2.
Okay, I'll be down later.
Yeah. We'll be open. I'll be there too.
Okay, I'm coming with you.
I think the thing I love about that pie is it has that sweet, it has that little tang from the pickle.
Right.
It's got it all.
Yeah, sweet, salty, a little bit of pickle to it. It's really, really good.
Patrick, if we go to you and you think about the pizzas you're slinging out right now, do you have a couple that are the top movers right now for folks?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, since 2018, we've been making the Hot Dad Pizza, which is our version of all the way back probably to a place called Polly G's in New York City that the gentleman named Mike that used to work for Polly developed Mike's Hot Honey, which Pete and I are both big fans of, and we continue to use on a daily basis. Got the hat on, yeah. It's my daily driver up there. But so he made a pizza with hot sopressata and Mike's Hot Honey on their regular cheese pie that has some, mozzarella blend and crushed tomatoes and sea salt and a little bit of olive oil and Parmesan on there. So that pizza, I always say that our pizza shop is was built by the Hot Dad. It was literally, that's always been our number one seller.
What a great name.
That's a perfect name.
And a couple of years ago, we started, I reached out to a chef in California named Daniela Uditi that owns I'm blanking on the name of his spot at the moment, but he makes a cacio e pepe pizza. And I reached out to him and asked him for some pointers and asked if he minded if I would make my version of that. And with his blessing, we started to we did that as one of our pizza maker specials. And it's super creamy and delicious. And it's just a seasoned heavy cream and mozzarella base. We cook it like that. We pull it out. We make a Parmesan cream that gets piped on afterwards. And as I tell the people that work for me, I'm like, put on fresh cracked black pepper till you think it's enough, and then put a little bit more on there. Yeah, because that's the shining star. It really, that pizza has become an everyday pizza on our menu and is slowly climbing the charts to challenge the Hot Dad. The most popular two pizza order by far on a given night is a cacio and a Hot Dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of like that both of your locations have sort of a white style pie as a top seller.
Yep.
That wouldn't have been a guess for me.
Yeah. And we have a classic, like we call it the Bianca.
Yeah.
And it has fresh shaved garlic, whipped ricotta, has cherry tomatoes, a little bit of fresh basil, olive oil, sea salt, and parm. And that is another one that always surprises me for whatever reason that we just sell a ton of that pizza. That likely is a little still higher than the cacio e pepe, but the cacio's quickly
catching up.
It is catching up. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, you've already dropped like a ton of knowledge and skill just by like what you're saying, but I want to know a little bit more about like your background and how you became like this pizziolo master that you both seem to be. Pete, why don't we go back to you? Detroit style. Like, in fact, I'll take you guys a little further back. Is there a pizza from like your growing up that was like the pizza and then it led you to the love of pizza?
To me, there kind of is. I grew up in Kittanning, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know it.
I know you do. Serena's. I love Serena's. So there's something reminiscent to my pizza and Serena's as a kid. They're two different styles. They really don't associate, but in my mind they do somehow.
Serena's Pizza.
Yeah. I call it. I have no idea though.
It's in the Franklin Village Mall in Kittanning.
Yep. I grew up maybe half a mile or a mile from there. So
it's been open as long as I can remember. That whole plaza, I think, opened in the 80s. So
I've had multiple friends work there. I think it's changed hands a few times, but it's still there. And from there, I went to IUP Culinary School, and then I externed at Neapolitan Woodlands. Probably stayed there 4 or 5 years, worked my way up to the 5-star kitchen. Went to Chicago, worked at Alinea, which is a 3-star Michelin restaurant. Came back home, worked for Giant Eagle, worked up to executive chef.
I think Paul Abbott and Eric White have mentioned you here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Paul and Eric I know very well. From there, I went on a trip to Telluride, Colorado, which I went to Brown Dog Pizza. Jeff Smokovich, who is on the World Pizza Champions. We had friends that gave us a place to stay, which was very gracious of them. And they're like, you got to go to this pizza shop. You got to go to this pizza shop.
This
I'm
is
like,
in
really?
Telluride, Colorado.
Yep. Really small ski town. So I was snowboarding, and the friends were like, you got to go eat there. So I was like, I don't even know what Detroit style pizza is. Like, are we really going to be in Colorado and go eat at a pizza shop? I went there. I was blown away, super excited, never tried anything like it. And I kind of said at the table, why is nobody in Pittsburgh doing this right now?
Oh.
So from there, I kind of worked on the recipe. I had already known how to bake bread and learn my way through the ropes of kitchens at that point.
What year was that you were in Telluride and experienced Detroit style pizza there?
I think it was 2016 because it was one full year. I had to try out for Small and Galley. And I was prepared at that point. And then I think like 4 months after that, we opened.
My goodness, what a transformation.
Yeah,
wow.
It was a wild year. This is Pete Tolman with Ironborn Pizza.
And I'm Patrick Elston with Gus Franco's Pizza.
And you're listening to the Pittsburgh Dish.
Patrick, what about you? You said you had a different life before Gus Franco. Like, where did the pizza making and pizza learning start to happen or come from?
So my early culinary training as well as my early life pizza are intertwined.
Okay.
My grandfather owned a diner with his brother for over 50 years in the city of New Kensington, in downtown New Kensington. So at the age of 8 or 9, I would wash pots and pans in the back to earn the right to cook my own burger and make my own fries.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my formal training.
What was their diner's name?
It was called Andy's Restaurant.
Andy's
on
Restaurant.
5th Avenue. I remember it on 5th. It spent some time in the 50s and 60s, I believe, on 9th Street, New Kensington. And then I grew up with it being on 5th Avenue, New Kensington. My whole family worked there, aunts, uncles, my mom. So it was, that was my early culinary experience, was getting to cook some burgers and fries after I washed some pots and pans. Now, next door was Egidio's. Egidio's was the pizza that, if we were getting pizza, that's what we got because it was right next door. It was easy to grab.
This is your Serena pizza.
This is my Serena pizza, right. So Egidio's was in New Kensington on 5th Avenue. They were a staple there. It was the first white pizza I ever had, and I still wish I could recreate that pie somehow. It was probably much more simple than I'm trying to make it in my head. But that pizza was really great. Had sliced red tomatoes on top of it. But my early pizza days, that was it. Egidio's was my spot. And then throughout my life, I had a couple part-time jobs when I would get laid off in the wintertime from a seasonal job that I had, that I would cook at a local bar in New Kensington called the Blind Pig. I did that for a season, making some simple stuff for them. But it was mostly just cooking at home for my family with my wife. The whole pizza thing started because of my wife wanting to do a pizza project. And then I started to get more interested in it because it was like a science project. And for some reason that intrigued me. And it kind of frustrated her at the time. So she was the more creative side of flavors and whatnot. And I was working on building that foundation.
Yes. You also sparked another question since you were talking about your wife wanting to do this pizza project. Can you share with our audience where the name of your shop comes from? Yeah,
absolutely. So Gus Franco's is nicknames we have for our children. Francis and August go by Gus and Franco. Francis is named after my grandfather, who owned Andy's Restaurant with his brother, Fran Datris. And then August is named after my wife's grandfather's Augustine, known as Gus Franco. So when we were naming the pizza shop, I was literally trying to... Pete and I, he was a little ahead of me, but when I was talking some names over in the early days, because I was working with wood, I think it was like steel brick, something like that. And then somebody was like, I think there's a place called Iron something in Pittsburgh that's good. And I'm like, what? How dare they? Oops. I'm going down there and giving them a piece of my mind. So my wife and I went to Smallman, not to give them a piece of my mind. We were just down there wanting to eat. And we ate the pizza, and I'm like, oh, they can have this name. We're going to think of something else if we end up doing this. Wow. And then Gus Franco sounded way more pizza-y than Patrick Elston
Definitely
pizza.
Does.
So, so
sounds
half my
super Italian to me.
Way better.
Half my customers call me Gus, and I don't mind it at all.
I called him Gus like the first week I met him, no joke.
Yeah, and even Heather Abraham, sometimes like I'll do Talk Pittsburgh like you do PTO, and every now and again, and she'll still like slip up and call me Gus sometimes, and I don't mind at all because Gus is named after one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. he's the greatest kid, both of my children. I love them dearly. And I couldn't imagine it being named anything else at this point. So
yes,
people can call me whatever they want, as long as they come get a pizza every now and again and throw a smile our way. Like we're doing all right.
It totally works.
Yeah.
Well, now you have me thinking, Pete, I have to ask you, where did the Ironborn name come from?
So Ironborn is supposed to mean Steel City born, because I grew up in Katanning, Pennsylvania. So I wanted a way to associate the steel pans that we cook in. We use a lot of steel tie-ins in our ambiance in the restaurant, let's call it. And then we did happen to be watching Game of Thrones, and my wife was smart enough to say, why don't you just name the pizzeria Ironborn Pizza? I was like, wow, that's such a great name. So I've told Patrick this story. The original name for Ironborn was going to be Baker's Table Pizza, and I'm very glad it's not. Ironborn is much better.
I love it. Yes. Yep. I love how we come to things. This podcast was going to be named something completely different. That's a story for another day.
I was going to say, you got to tell us now.
Pete has the best branding. He puts so much time, effort, and thought and money into his merchandise and branding. I mean, Steven that works for me literally half the time has an Ironborn hat on because it's so sweet.
Great merch.
He has great merch. He has great everything about his branding. I'm super jealous of. So I just want that to be out there.
My wife, Carrie, is a marketer. So she, after we knew Ironborn, I was like, wow, we can do all these different tie-ins. And we used Top Hat marketing back in the day. Currently we use Aaron Easler, and he does a lot of the t-shirts and the cool merch. And
you're sporting one right now,
right? So we made these really cool pizza hats with a small Ironborn emblem that kind of look old timey. That's
the one I look at all day long.
Right, people love that hat. So if you're looking for cool hats, there at both stores.
Yeah.
I did try to get a little merch recently. We got some stuff done, but by no means is it on that tier.
Okay. You'll have to talk to Pete's wife.
No. I like being the underdog anyway.
I don't know if I've asked this question yet, and since we've been going for a while, how did you two meet and become friends? Patrick, you just said you guys went down and had the pizza. How did the friendship and camaraderie happen?
I want to say maybe Eddie. I don't know.
It could have been Eddie. Eddie from Eddie's Pizza 412.
Yes,
the Instagram personality.
He has the most beautiful
pizza maker.
Pepperoni roses is what Eddie's claim to fame in my mind.
Yeah, that's his signature topping, no doubt. I think Eddie probably introduced us maybe in Vegas. We go to Las Vegas each year for the Pizza Expo.
Well, let's talk about that. So Vegas has the World Pizza Expo.
International Pizza Expo in Las Vegas every third
in the World
week in
Pizza
March.
Games.
And how long have you two been going out to the expo?
I think I've been every year except for my first year, so probably 6 years.
And you, Patrick?
I've been there 4 times. Yeah, I've been there, I think 4 times.
And you both have come back with some recognition, let's just
hardware,
say.
Yeah.
Patrick most recently.
Recently, 2025. What did you
2025, I competed in the traditional category, which is generally the first one to fill up. It's the biggest field generally and has the best prize money. So I said, well, let's just go for the
swing for it.
Yeah, let's go. If we're doing it, we're doing it. So that was the first one that I ever competed in 3 years ago. And I came in somewhere in the top 30. So I was super proud of that. The next year I said, let's try something a little different in the non-traditional. And one judge absolutely despised my pizza. That's all right though. I was super happy with it. But this year I went back to traditional. I'm like, look, this is my wheelhouse. This is what I make every day. I'm going to make our red sauce cheese pie. The traditional category only allows you to use 2 of like the most common type of toppings. So you can do like sausage, pepperoni, peppers, onions, mushrooms, stuff like that. So I made some house-made pickled peppers and I use Ezo pepperoni as well.
Yes.
I say Ezo sausage because they call it sausage for pizza. So I slip up, but it is pepperoni for you out there. So we use that and we came in top 20. But we did, I came in the best in the entire Northeast. So I won the Northeast region, which is all Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and all the way up through the New England states.
The best traditional
pizza.
Oh my
in
goodness.
the Northeast is, and I didn't even realize it. I was happy, coming in the place but I figured somebody had to come in higher than me from this region.
Does this include New York?
Includes New York. Yeah. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut's and New Haven's in there. So anybody that was competing from any one of those states,
as the kids say, you slayed it.
It was pretty cool. So I didn't even know that I had won that. And the next day, Rico, who had an amazing trip out there, Rico Lunardi from Slice on Broadway, sent me a text and said, oh, congratulations, man. I can't believe you won. And I'm like, I didn't win anything. Like I came in, top 20. I'm really happy with it. And he sent me a picture of this like giant board that they have there that showed me number one. He's like, your last name's Elston, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And I turned to my wife. I'm like, I won the Northeast. This is crazy. So that was a pretty exciting stuff. But the best thing about it truly, I wasn't out there to try and take over the world and claim to be the best of anything, but it validates my customers. Like, I don't advertise. I don't have an advertising budget other than the crazy wrap that I put on my van that I drive around every day. That's been my entire advertising budget for the last 4 years. But it validates the people that continually tell their friends and their neighbors and their family to come buy pizza off of us. So it gives them a chance to puff out their chest a little bit and say, I told you, you know what I mean? Why haven't you gone there yet? And it allows that word of mouth, which we've been very lucky to have, that the people that like us are really passionate about it. I grew up playing in bands. I was a front man for so many bands that nobody would ever remember. But I loved being up there on stage, and I can remember being young and liking a band and telling everybody about it, and then they got super popular. But it was nice to be able to say I was one of the first one. I told you about that band, and we feel that way about our customers now, that they can kind of say, hey, look, they got a little recognition, and you should go try it. So it allows that grassroots kind of marketing thing to continue to help us out.
Well, I love that you're throwing it out to your customers, but it's really validating your skills too. When you were talking earlier about the experimentation and the best flour, it really also goes back to all the things you're doing.
When it happens to you, it's so strange that it doesn't feel like that. It really. Yeah, the bigger part of it that I get a kick out of, I don't even, like when people ask me how it went, it's not the first thing I bring up. Usually somebody that's working with me will say, oh, he won this, look at that plaque, but it's not something that I try to throw out there and brag about, because again, I could have done better and I plan on doing better. I got a little taste of a little bit success in there, and Pete has the same. I think you won.
Remind us, like, what else have you guys achieved with Ironborn out at the expo?
So just like Patrick getting first in Northeast in the International Pizza Expo, I also, I believe in 2019, again, I'm bad with dates, I got third overall and first in Northeast non-traditional pizza. And then my GM won third place in the Caputo Cup in Atlantic City, maybe the year after that. And then 2023, I want to say she won first in Northeast, third overall again. So we've been third overall 3 times and first in Northeast 3 times. But Sarah has the hot hand.
Sarah Boyer. Shout out to Sarah.
Sarah Boyer?
Yeah.
Okay. She's come up on the podcast before.
Yeah. So she placed third this year. Then they made everybody recompete, which was very confusing. Then she got fourth. So she got knocked out. Otherwise, she would have three third places
in a row. Oh my goodness. Well, still,
yeah, she's doing great.
You guys are competing against how many other pizza locations in the country? I have to say, like, mad props. And I know that there's a huge contingent of Pittsburghers that go out to the expo. We always come back with a lot of wins. So thank you guys so much for representing.
Yeah, it's great. Our pleasure.
I'd love to know, as we kind of move forward in your businesses, do you guys have anything coming up in the near or long term? I know we're just past the expo.
Pete probably has more going on than I do, so he should probably go first. You doing Picklesburg again?
No.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, we unfortunately are going through some staffing issues. So if anybody's searching for a job and would love to come work for a great staff, please call us. But I had multiple managers leave for one reason or another. Everybody on good terms, which is great, but just kind of lost some heavy hitters there for a second. And we're ramping back up, but I wouldn't say Sarah's talking to me much about Picklesburg.
So just to reframe that, like, Pete, you're in a place where you are staffing up the team just to do more at the 2 locations right now.
Correct. Yeah. We have a brand new manager starting in Millvale that's super excited right now. So we're hoping to revamp that menu and freshen it up quite a bit.
All right. All steady and good stuff.
Thank you.
Patrick, what about you? Any events happening? Any new things happening for the shop?
Yeah. So I'm getting some electrical upgrades because I purchased a small double deck electric oven.
Oh, okay.
This is going down the Sicilian path that we were talking about, the Stephen project. And so once we get our amperage up from 100 service to 200 service, we're going to be able to get those ovens cranking and start to learn the way to cook them in that oven. We've been doing them in the wood-fired oven because that's our one and only cooking utensil in the entire building. So we've been doing the Sicilians in there, but they're much too big and they cook at a little bit lower temperature than our round pies. So it's tough to do them at the same time. So we're hoping to start to have at least 10 to 15 Sicilians available each day, which are going to be a 12 by 12 inch thicker crust, kind of a pan fried, super crispy bottom.
Expanding the menu with this new oven.
Trying.
Yeah. What kind of oven?
It's a Advantco oven, which is a bit of a bargain basement brand through a Webster on store because if it doesn't work out, well, I didn't want to overinvest. But
with just a standard,
it's a standard. It has 2 18-inch decks. It's a double deck. Top and bottom heat are separate, kind of like the a la Pizza Master. So we'll be able to play around with what the heat is coming from the top, so the cheese isn't getting overcooked or the bottom's too well done and whatnot. So it is going to allow us to practice and dial that in. I do nothing very fast. I don't take a lot of risks that aren't overthought a million times.
Slow and steady is always good.
Slow and steady.
That's the way I do it too.
Yeah, I can't. So even like Detroit's, we still only do Detroit pies, quote unquote, Detroit inspired pies on Tuesdays because we just don't have the time, energy, and to do it every day.
You don't want to disappoint the people that are coming back. You're like, this is an experiment. This isn't something we're ready to weave in all the time.
But he also doesn't roll it out until he's totally confident that he's happy with it.
That's right.
Right.
I think slow and steady for both of you is sort of part of both shops' success. You guys have both been around well over 7 years now, going strong. Everyone loves it.
I mean, it's not. I like earning a living making pizza, but I'm not just doing it to make as much as I can in the shortest amount of time. Which would make me rush things and make me put out product. I mean, I can't even imagine how much more money I would have made if I allowed people to order extra cheese on our round pizza. I mean, every other person, until they kind of learn that we don't do that, would get extra cheese. So the amount, I mean, just in extra cheese, it would have been, but I know that extra cheese on our pizza does not cook properly. By the time that crust is starting to brown and be ready to go, all that cheese pot up and they're still going to be raw on the bottom side. The middle of the pizza is going to be soggy. The experience won't be the same. We don't have dine in. We have some outdoor seats for people to sit when it's nice outside. 3-4 top tables and a little bistro table. So it's not a lot of room, but that pizza's not getting any better in a box. We use perfect crust pizza liners, which go inside of every box that are kind of this waffled type of paper that the pizza sits on that allows airflow to go under there. So it doesn't just sit in its own moisture and just steam the bottom of it. So by the time you get it home, it's like a wet noodle. So we do everything we can to make that experience good when you get it home, because you're most likely taking it home to eat it. So, you know, we don't want to rush anything. We don't want to put something out until it's ready. We want every pizza to be, the highest quality that we can make it. So yeah, at this point we're testing. So there's going to be more testers. Right now on Fridays and Saturdays, we open up for lunch and dinner. And we've been doing slices of Sicilian. So we'll make 1 or 2 of those Sicilians and sell them by the slice to allow people to try them. And the amount of people that are still calling every Friday and Saturday, and once they're gone and sold out, that are still asking for them, is a great sign.
Yes,
that they're being well received. So we're really excited to get the electrical work done and start to tinker with that new little oven, which will allow us to learn a lot. And if that works out, in fact, then we've got some real rearranging to do, because we're under 600 square feet.
Yes.
I have a big old wood-fired oven in the corner, and there's not a lot of real estate. But one day it would be nice to have an oven similar to pizza in there, to where we'd be able to do a couple different styles at the same time and up the amount of pizzas that we're doing. So Friday nights and Saturdays and some Tuesdays don't get so backed up with longer wait time.
It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to reel back again as someone sitting here watching you two and listening to this. You're talking about the type of oven, Pete. You're talking about the paper. You guys are obsessed in the best way. And I have said this before. I don't have the bandwidth for it, but if somebody wants to create a pizza-only Pittsburgh podcast, you can do it. I mean, there's so much to talk about with pizza and all of that sort of fine-tuned things. Yes. You know, what's your daily dough?
So
when you want to take daily dough to the next level, there you go.
Maybe we'll
bring one pizza maker on like a Zoom and do your daily dough.
I did that. I actually, so I did that. I promoted it, have an actual Instagram account called The Daily Dough Show. And started, I did a couple interviews with live stream interviews, about 15 minutes, like short little compressed podcasts. I did one with my dear friend, Tony Jarmita, who used to own Talio Pizza in East Liberty, who's still a dear friend of mine. I got to cook with him a couple months ago when he was in town at his dad's restaurant, La Tavola, up in Mount Washington.
He recommended the mixer that I still use to this day, and I love him for that. Yeah, thank you, Tony. I love you.
Tony's a G. So actually, Tony and I, something to look forward to is possibly a live duo Instagram with Tony. He just recently got a new Gosney Arc oven, which is a home pizza maker's oven, a little higher end, and I just upgraded mine as well because we're doing a little more catering over the summer months. And so we want to cook pizzas together, and he's in Brussels and I'm in Lower Burrell. So the only way to do that is going to be with the power of Instagram.
You can do it.
And so we're gonna get together and we're gonna live broadcast Tony and I hanging out, making some pizzas together, and hopefully sharing a few laughs. And so that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Why don't we give our listeners your social handles? Sure. And as well, remind us of your current hours at the shop.
Absolutely. So biggest thing, we're closed Sundays and Mondays. I promised my kids when I opened this place up that I was going to be there a lot, that Sunday was their day. So we open for dinner service from 3 to 8, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then from 11 to 8 on Friday and Saturday. So we do lunch and dinner those 2 days.
And you're located in Lower Burrell?
Located in Lower Burrell at the corner of Leechburg and Michigan. And we're 1 block from Pizza Hut. So if you see a Pizza Hut, just follow your nose to the smell of wood fire and you'll find us at the peak of the hill. No, nobody out pizzas the Hut, Doug. Haven't you heard?
Wow. Wow, that is so retro. I love that.
Nobody out pizzas. I'm not trying to out pizza anybody. I'm just trying to make a nice pizza at the corner of Leechburg and Michigan. And Instagram, Facebook, those are all the same. Just at Gus Franco's Pizza, Franco's with an S. At Gus Franco's Pizza. The website is gusfrancospizza.com. It'll take you to like a square Gus Franco's Pizza site. Don't be afraid. That's the real one. I just refuse to pay their crazy hosting fees. And I don't I don't have online ordering, so I don't need it to be crazy intuitive yet. But we're phone call or walk-in only on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's generally about 4, maybe 5 pizzas every 10 minutes. On Friday, we're doing around 6 average every 10 minutes. And we're thumping in there. That allows us to not guess when your pizza is going to be done, because we're not delivery. We're not, we're pickup only. We don't have a ton of parking space. So we want the customers to come in and get their pizza as it's coming out of the oven. Yeah. Like I want it to be getting cut while they're paying, so they get it as fresh as possible. That pizza doesn't get any better in a box, no matter what high-end products that we put in there with it. That pizza is not going to get any better. So, but that allows us to not guess. I can always remember, ordering pizza and they would say, I have 25 minutes. Depending on the night, it was either 25 or 45 minutes. And sometimes your pizza would be sitting there for 20 minutes on top of the oven because it got done way sooner than it was. We don't do that. But it's not some formal. We still have people that think we're, I always quote Braveheart when William Wallace gets in front of the army and he goes, "I'm William Wallace." And the guy goes, "No, you're not. William Wallace is 8 foot tall and shoots lightning bolts out of his arse," or something like that. So we have this stigma around us because when we opened, it was so busy that we would sell every dough ball that we had before we even opened. They would all be claimed. So if you didn't call, it was like winning a radio show for the first month. It was insane, the amount of, you would set the phone back down and it would pick up. We have 2 lines and you would just tap it down and pick it back up and there was a customer on the phone. So we still have a stigma around us that people they're like, "I hear you got to call 3 days ahead. You got to make a reservation." I'm like, "Look, you don't have to make a reservation. You don't have to call 3 days. You call when you're hungry. We'll probably get you in within 40 minutes. And it's not any crazy inclusive, deal here. We're a regular pizza shop. We were just busy 3.5 years ago, and it got written about in newspapers, and now everybody believes that they can't do it. So once or twice a week, people are like, "Oh, this was really easy," and I'm like, "What do people think we are out there?" You know what I mean? Like, we're just over here making pizzas, hanging out. Just give us a call or stop in, and we'll get you a pizza. So. But that's how we break down our night, and that's the hours that we have. We're only open, 30 some hours a week, so it's not a ton of time. And I would open more during the week for lunch, but we burn wood to keep that oven hot. And if it's not going on, we're just in there just wasting away wood, And again, the romantic side of me, like that wood serves a purpose. That wood, was a tree that soaked in the energy from the sun for years and years and years, and then blazes up in my oven for 10 minutes and cooks somebody their food. Like I feel bad wasting that resource. So at this point, we don't open up for lunch, but we might at some point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Pete, what about the hours at Ironborn? I think they're close at both locations, right?
Yeah,
just a little
each
different?
restaurant's a little bit different, but Millvale's a little bit easier. Ironborn Millvale is open every day of the week other than major holidays or events that we take off because we need to have a team building event. The Strip District is open every day but Tuesday. Both stores are open 11 to 9 on the days they are serving food. And then, of course, the Strip District has a bar as well as 5 booths to sit in.
And your handle is
Ironborn Pizza, pretty much on all the handles. We don't really do Facebook. And then I'm Pizza Pete on Instagram.
And I'm the Pizza Bear.
I don't think I follow you as the Pizza Bear.
Yes.
New information.
Yes.
All right, guys. It's been so great to talk with you. I have one more question for the both of you. The name of the show is The Pittsburgh Dish. What's the best dish you have had to eat this past week?
I feel like I'm ready for it. So once a month, myself and my wife, Mandy, Pete and his wife, Carrie, and Eddie from Eddie's Pizza, him and his wife, Jen, we get together generally on the first Monday of the month. We went to Taipei in Fox Chapel last week and gorged ourselves on some lovely sushi and a few other dishes. And by far, that would have probably been the best meal that I've had recently at the Taipei in Fox Chapel with some friends.
All right. Best bite.
Yeah.
Pete, would you share this or do you have a different best bite for the week?
That is probably the correct answer for sure. One that we're looking forward to, actually, it's not one I ate yet, but we are going to see Kevin Kahn, who's at Italian Village in Fox Chapel. And he's putting out some of the best pizzas that I've seen on the internet, and I haven't been yet, so I'm really excited about it. But my wife made a really good braised short rib cauliflower gnocchi last night that was pretty good as well.
Oh, home food's always good too, and it
really
counts.
Good cook.
So my wife made a great birthday cake for my son, Gus, who turned 8 years old on Memorial Day. And she did a beautiful marshmallow buttercream icing. And boy, I tell you what, I wish I had a little bit more of that. I would
go for that any day of the week as well. Oh, those are some best bites. So thank you both.
Absolutely.
All right. Patrick Elston, Pete Tolman, thank you both so much for being on the Pittsburgh Dish.
Thanks for having us.
Oh God, yeah, Doug, it was a great time. We'll see you next week, same time. Or we got more to talk about.
I think we do.
I don't run out of words. I mean, if you watch the Daily Dough, I have to shut myself off sometimes. So we'll be here next week. It wasn't a bad drive. The traffic on 28 was good, and he gave me a nice little water, which is quite quenching. So thank you, Doug, for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I love it. If you enjoyed the show, consider buying us a coffee for this episode or supporting the show monthly. You can find links to those options at the bottom of our show description. And if you want to follow my own food adventures, you can find me on social media at Doug Cooking. That's our show for this week. Thanks again to all of our guests and contributors, and to Kevin Selecki of Carnegie Accordion Company for providing the music to our show. We'll be back again next week with another fresh episode. Stay tuned.